David Sable back with New York Festival and creativity from the other side. Now she doesn't stop laughing. I'm not gonna be able to interview her. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. It came out of nowhere.
Let me, because that's how you start. We gotta get the energy.
Yes, I'm here.
Shannon.
Hi.
Shannon Washington.
That is me.
Shannon Washington. So
Shannon
that's
Washington.
who I'm interviewing, guys. That is the creative talent for today. And
Yes.
you know what creativity from the other side is. We talk to the best, the most creative, the most interesting.
I'm so flattered.
And that's who I'm talking to today. Shannon Washington, the Chief Creative Officer of Gotham.
Yes.
Which is a McCann Worldwide boutique.
Yes, it is.
And it's also the busiest company I've never heard of.
Yes, it truly is.
So tell me, what does that mean?
No, it truly is. We like to say that, we're the largest, smallest agency or the largest, small agency. Gotham is a millennial, if you really think about it. Gotham is about 34 years old.
Was very heavy into beauty?
Yes.
In the early
Started
days?
very heavy into beauty. We are still the global agency of record for Maybelline New York. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's sitting next to David Sable.
Maybe.
That's also why my sleeves are perennially rolled up, because we are always working, always shooting. But yeah.
Is that why I was wondering?
Yes, I'm always ready for anything working there. No, it's so interesting to be at a place now coming from, a big behemoth, if you will, like RGA.
A former behemoth.
Well, that was shady. It was a behemoth when I was there. In my heart, it will always be.
Me too. Bob is one of my dearest friends, my mentor.
Yes, hi Bob. But to return there, I worked there for a little bit when I was just starting out in this industry. It was such an anomaly, for the time, and I believe it still is, but it's primed to grow. The idea that we have built such a successful business and have helped to really propel the #1 color cosmetic brand in the world. Maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline, was written at Gotham, and we're the home of so many great people that have gone out in front and behind the camera. I looked at it as a really, really interesting opportunity to say, what would happen, in partnership with everyone there and everyone that we're going to meet, if we could turn this into what I think everybody says that they want to do when it comes to a small boutique, right? But what is a small boutique that is backed by one of the best networks in the world? That is the grand, I don't want to say grand experiment because it's working, but that's the theory that I'm proving in real life right now.
And so you're now, though, more than a boutique in the sense of your client base, the kinds of businesses you pitch. So just tell us more about...
Well, we are a boutique depending on, what you're coming to us for.
So why would I come to you? I'm a client here. Pitch. Why would I come to you?
I did not. This was not in the brief. No, you would come to Gotham because you are looking for a partner that can build around you. That you don't want to fold into someone's, bespoke way of working or trademarked, technology system or anything like that. You're looking for someone who, you have big ambitions, but you want to do it with a partner that will pick up the phone when you call and that isn't going through, 4 different levels of creativity to get to the good idea, if you will, a lot of big bloating. And you're also looking for someone who isn't afraid to flex. L'Oreal, anyone who works on L'Oreal watching this knows that it's a very voracious schedule. And so when you dovetail that into a smaller business, we're ready to go at any time. We are ready to flex at any time globally. And when I was at bigger shops, one of the things that I always struggled with was the hurry up and wait type of, I'm not a big hurry up and wait type of person. Whereas at Gotham, and sometimes to our even, I would say creatives watching us to our detriment because we do work really hard, we can make magic happen in 10 days. I've seen that happen with my own eyes, but it is purposely small. It is purposely intimate. It is purposely ready to be built and ready to be modeled around what our clients need versus our clients trying to fit into a larger system. You'll never get lost at Gotham. just like the city that we're named after. It's very, very simple when you really think about it, and you'll always find your way back to us. And so I took it as something, I'm like, this is a challenge, but having been there when I was a kid, I was there like 10 years ago when I first started in this industry, it was built on the backs of such incredible people, specifically such incredible women. And I wanted to be at a place where I'm like, if you need to get some shit done, you call a woman. In my opinion. And so
talk to my wife. I totally agree. I'm
ready
useless.
to go all the time. With our new branding, which we'll be making some to do about in the new year, it was inspired by the word go.
Oh, wow. Will you share that with us?
I will.
Good. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your journey. Not your whole journey. Not your whole journey. We're going to get to your whole journey soon. I just want to talk about your ad journey, because I hadn't realized that you started at Gotham.
Yeah.
But you were at RGA.
Yes.
You were at Media Lab. You were like Fortune #1 creative person in the universe. You were Ad Age, beyond the universe. You just had all these incredible accolades.
Oh, thank you.
As you came up in the industry. And I love them because they were diverse and they were different and they came from different places. So it wasn't just from the usual one place, which to me is always suspect, but from a variety of different places. And you did lots of different things. You worked on Apple and Apple Plus, you helped launch that. You worked, so just talk to me about, to us, about that journey. So you Gotham, RGA, what was it like? And because some of those places you sort of went big to small, to bigger, back to small.
Yeah. I think my journey is pretty indicative of a person who is still kind of squaring with the fact that they work in advertising. I think my journey actually reflects someone, and this is going to sound crazy, who never wanted to work in advertising. I've never had a desire to work in advertising. I frankly did not know what working in advertising was until I was working in advertising. I wanted to design books. I wanted to design album covers.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought you were going to say you wanted to be a brain surgeon. But I was getting me nervous.
I am.
No, don't tell me that.
What?
You want to really be a brain surgeon?
No, no. I'm sorry. Please do not give me that responsibility.
Okay.
I am a pre-med physician assistant dropout of Howard University. But I ended up going, Howard, in my opinion, has one of the best African / global African diaspora centered visual art schools in the world.
I want to talk
about Howard. And that is where I graduated from.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But honestly, working in advertising was never a goal of mine. And partially due to I did not know it could be a goal until, like I said, I was doing it. But I came up.
And that was because looking in, you didn't see yourself in there?
No, I did not know what it was. I did not know what it was. You could not tell me what Mad Men, in college, if you were like, what's Mad Men? I'd be like, I don't know, the guy on the corner. I wouldn't be able to tell you any type of lore. I would be like, Madison Avenue, that's older ladies I grew up with furs. It wasn't advertising to me. It wasn't until, but I knew what marketing was. I knew what street teams were. I knew what, stapling snipes around the city were. That is very old school to New York. But I knew what album covers were, and I knew what music was. And that's what I wanted to do. I would get lost in CD booklets when I was younger and album covers, and I wanted to do that. And I knew the best way, the proximity industry to that was music publishing. Not the publishing of songs, but editorial publishing. And it just so happened in my social group were a lot of writers, and artists. And so thinking about both, of course, I'm designing flyers for parties. I'm designing indie album covers. I'm designing some label covers. And I literally spun my way into this thing called marketing. And then you start to meet people from places called agencies. And I'm like, what kind of agency is that? What do y'all do? And then you start asking around and you eventually matriculate into it. And so I've always gone where I feel like the biggest opportunity is. I never really look at a name. I didn't really even get cognizant, I don't think, into names and the people. Well, let me not say the people. I definitely look at the people, but the names and all of that, what network is this and this, that, and the third. Maybe until I was midway, if not on the latter end of my career, which is still young in my opinion. What I was looking for was the same thing that girl who was destroying drafting tables in college because I refused to use a slip mat, long story, but I did it, doctor. You know who you are, professor. I did it. I'm sorry. I never admitted that publicly. Who was just looking to see her name in the credit.
So is that how you learned? You actually learned doing hand?
I learned by hand, which a lot of people don't really get anymore. Like, I remember shooting posters.
I learned that way.
Yeah, I
That's
shot
the only way to
posters,
learn.
I silk screened posters,
Right.
you know, like,
Good for you.
my journey to design was more, you know, X-Acto knives and, you know,
I wish everybody
rubber
would
erasers.
learn. I wish everybody would learn that way.
And charcoal and things of that nature. And like, you know, what is it called? The lettering that you stamp out, the rubbing lettering. Letraset, thank you.
That's how I learned. And leading by...
Leading by actual pieces of lead. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I loved all of that. And I still kind of like search for that in a way. I used to get a lot of flack when I was younger because one of my mentors would say, you're always going somewhere. You never just stay. And that's for varied reasons. You know, that's when you walk in someplace and you're like, you guys have no idea what to do with me. So I'm gonna just see my way out. But it was always sparked by, what is the opportunity and how can I get my creative point of view across? And now that I'm in the position that I'm in, I'm looking also for the creative opportunity, but do I have the ability to help multiple people get their creative points of views across, right? Yeah, it's a twisty, turny journey, but I think it's, for someone like me who occupies some pretty exclusive places, I think, in this industry, I think it's quite normal because you're just contorting all the time. And as I've gotten older and more confident, I'm doing less contorting. And I'm like, you know what, contort for me. You know, I've done a lot of great things. But when I was younger, I was just trying to figure it out. And so like my road, I would think from Gotham to Gray to Droga, I want to say, and then Deutsch and a few other places, which is always me just trying to figure it out. I try a thing.
You had this aha moment in your life where you said, holy shit, we're the adults in the room now.
Yes.
What was that like?
That was really during the pandemic. And for me, that was wild. I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry. What? You know, like, I'm the responsible person, you know, when I was just doing what came naturally to me, which is, okay, outside is crazy, but we can control this space. Let's control this space the best way that we know how. I think when you also grow up, I was very nomadic as a kid. I was very transient. I went to the average person in America goes to 3 schools, an elementary school, a middle school, a high school. I went to about 7 or 6. And so due to my mom being in the military, moving around. And so I'm very used to like pivoting in a lot of ways. And so when the pandemic happened, it just so happened that I had just moved back from LA. So I was already in a really transient state of mind. So I'm like, all right, this is what we gotta do. This is what we gotta do, you know? And I remember having a conversation, I wanna say with Walt. I forgot who was with, and I was like, I cannot believe that people literally trust me to be the adult right now. That is, it's still insane to me. But I think we occupy, people around my age range, like older millennials or whatnot, a really, really interesting space because we're in between so many different worlds, like 2 disparate worlds, like boomers and Gen X, and then Gen Alpha and Gen Z, you know, and then you have us, who everyone thought was gonna be like so lazy and apathetic, and we were all gonna be broke because we like avocados on toast, which is nasty. But, you know, like, that we were, you know, thinking about the wrong things and kind of find out, I feel like we're probably the most responsible, especially management generation, that there is, because we're
certainly
still,
in light of what's come after you.
Yeah,
for sure,
but
yeah.
Still, like, because we're still seeing, like, we still see why, you know, our older generations were doing what, like, we were cognizant to a point where we can understand and we can distill it down for a younger generation. But I have so much empathy, for younger creatives and, the creatives in that previous generation, because I also experienced what they didn't. Like I couldn't imagine going to school and doing like a active shooter drill. The only things that, depending on like where you went to school, like I had to learn how to like avoid drug dealers, or like here's what to say if someone offers you crack. You know what I mean? Like very specific time. But I think that was more social awareness than anything. But I never feared for my life going to school. If anything, school growing up for me and a lot of the people that I went to school with, school was an escape, from maybe a life that you didn't want to go to at home in a way. And so that's a pretty dark example. But when you think about like, why is this generation so like apathetic? And I'm like, buckle up. Let's talk about this. Like I look at them in the same way that I look at myself and my own journey here, because I know sometimes it's not always easy to understand where I'm coming from, because I'm generally coming from a perspective that a lot of people in the rooms that I'm in have not had. And so it puts you in a really interesting space of being like, I know what it's like when you don't have the words, because I still don't have the fucking words. I still every day am like, I cannot believe I get to do what I do. Explaining what I do to my family is the funniest thing. The best way I can say is I make commercials you see on TV. And they're like, okay, that's a thing.
That we get.
But when I talk about like, oh, I'm so tired. And it's like, you were just talking in front of a computer all day. And I'm like, today I was a therapist. I was a janitor. I was an ops person. I was a creative director. I was a painter. I was a therapist again. And I think I'm someone's mother now. And I didn't ask for that. Like it's a lot. And being the adult in the room or the new adults, it's an interesting place to be, but...
Well, but you're also the adult, you're also the leader.
Yeah.
Even the things that you just said.
Which is still wild.
Even the things that you just said. Like some of them I get can be adult, but a lot of that's about leadership.
Yeah.
A lot of that's about because people look at you as a leader. And because they look at you as a leader, they want you to be the mom.
Yeah.
And they want you to be the therapist. And
But it's interesting because I don't know if like men get put in a place of being a dad in like the way emotionally that I feel like women leaders get kind of put in a place. Like I know when someone is giving me like big hug me mom energy and I'm like, whoa, okay, if that's what it's going to take to get to a good meeting, maybe, but also like...
Yeah, I think we do. I think they do. I think that men get take care of me energy.
Yes.
So it might not be the hug energy.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like this take care of me energy.
Make me feel safe energy.
It's kind of like the same. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just this question of transference, right? Like I need somebody to...
I need some of what you got.
To be there. Like I gotta have some of it. I gotta be part of what
Which is crazy. It goes back to like we're the adults now, because I think the thing, and I tell my teams all the time, anyone who's ever worked with me will know I'm the first person to be like, I have no fucking clue. Like I'm gonna just set the tone like, do not look to me for the answer right now. We're gonna get there by the end of the meeting.
Can I come work for you?
I don't know if he would like that.
Why?
Because you're opinionated, I'm opinionated.
I'm not opinionated. Honestly. Right.
You's a whole lie.
I didn't want to talk about opinionated. I
know.
I love your
what
energy.
else did you want to talk about?
I love your energy.
I like your energy too.
That's like awesome. So here's what I want to do. I have a bunch of other stuff we're going to get to.
Okay, let's do it.
But
I got all the time in the world for you.
I like doing masterclass.
Ooh.
Like when I talk to somebody really great, and you can talk to people and give them a masterclass, and we break that wall, and you like look right in the camera. And we can do masterclass. So I want to do masterclass because I read some stuff that you did called Key Lessons. So I'm going to read it from my little book.
Key Lessons. Oh,
I'm going to read it from my little book because
the crazy things that I do and I don't remember.
But,
okay.
But I'm going to give them to you.
All right.
Here's your key lessons, and everybody pay attention. This is masterclass and it's free. Embrace nonlinear paths.
Yes. Yes. You have to. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm still a new adult. A nonlinear, it's kind of like binaries. There are things that, I feel like the brain creates in order to feel comfortable. I also think it's cultural too, but I don't think anyone's life is ever lived in a linear fashion. I think if it is, it's quite boring. And I really value people who have the courage to figure some shit out, with this thing called your life. And it's so interesting because I don't think we know what we're talking about. We're as aware of what we're talking about when it comes to like, okay, so here's your career path. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this. And I meet young creatives all the time who are like, I've been told in order to work in advertising, I have to do this, 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 this. I'm like, how fucking boring is that? How boring is that? This is your life. Every fucking day you wake up is a day you have never seen before and you will never see again. And if you think about that in life, and I'm like, so that means that you are gonna take this prescribed thing that you read in a book with this thing, with the ability to even like do this shit, which is quite frankly a very privileged industry. We are all very, very privileged to be here.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? And so you're gonna take that talent, especially if someone is so talented, and you're going to try to like fit it in this funnel. That makes absolutely no sense. If you think about it, it is the antithesis of creativity. We try to over categorize, we try to over design so many things that are meant to, for a certain while, especially when you're young, that are meant to be messy. Now, I don't want anybody messy working for me. There's enough messy people that we're all working for.
Just nonlinear. I got
Just
it.
nonlinear.
Number 2.
Yeah.
And now, if you tuned in just even right now, you got this one. The power of hustle.
Yes. Like, get it done.
Like hustle.
Hustle. I mean, that's simple. Like, a good hustle, especially when you fail, will teach you so much, and it makes winning so much better. It truly, truly does. But a good hustle, to me, when you can tap into your adrenaline, when you can tap into the, oh my God, what do I need to do now? That's David. I'm gonna go up to him. I've never met him before, but I know that he knows the person that I need to talk to. So you know what? I'm gonna let the dice roll.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Number 3.
That's how you get shit done.
Number 3, and it's so clear, like this is just like talking to you for half hour, just so clear. Leverage relationships.
Yeah. Your work was only gonna get you so far. And it sounds really, really bratty. It sounds kind of like Gordon Gekko-ish in a way,
But you have to have a relationship to leverage it.
Exactly. But that's also the power of good relationships. There's people that and then there's people that you have relationships with. I know a lot of people. I don't know if I have relationships with a lot of people, but my relationships that I have with a lot of people have been lifesavers, and I am in a privileged place now. I'm in an honored place to be able to be that person for other people.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, it truly, truly is.
It pays it forward and back, by the way.
100%. That is honestly the key to almost everything. Your reputation should precede you, and people should feel good about you being in the room.
Okay, stay flexible
100%.
and curious.
Yes. Stay flexible, curious, but also like a little jealousy. Be jealous of shit. Be like, ooh, I really wish I would have did that. That's always good. That's where the hustle comes from too, for me.
I always find that there's a little bit of humility in that.
Yeah, for
as
sure.
Well. Wow, I wish I had done that. Like, it's so great.
Because then you study like what would it taken from out of me to do that.
Right, but you're also acknowledging somebody else's work as being amazing.
Yes.
And I think it's so important in our industry.
And I think we don't do it enough.
Yeah.
I love like literally messaging people that don't work for me or don't work at my agency. Maybe they work at an agency. I've even messaged people that have pitched against me like, you know what, that shit is fire. It's just good to hear that. And it's good to give it.
So I love what you said before, we're blessed to be in this business, which I totally agree. We need to be optimistic. I spoke to Javier a while ago, and he was talking about crisis of confidence and how we have to get over it. We need to be proud to be in our business. And you talk about that. Basically what you say is find joy in the process.
Yeah, there's joy in the muck.
Enjoy it. This is an optimistic business.
Just enjoy this shit, and I think an average person would say, oh, you could be a garbage man or whatnot. Number one, that's not a bad job. They get a great pension, especially in New York. And this is someone who's a granddaughter of a garbage man. yes, I could be doing more intensive labor. I could have someone's life in my hands. But I think once you realize, like, we are using tools that are innate, that essentially we are born with in a way that is intangible. I think a lot of the bells and whistles of this industry, get in the way. Like, I feel like sometimes I go on LinkedIn and I have this thought where I'm like, privileged people love to be oppressed, because then we love to complain about being oppressed. Like, oh my God, this is happening outside. Woe is me, the industry, da 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 da. This is the end. This is the blah 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 da da da. And it's like, shut up. Like, we have jobs. Number one, we have jobs. Huh. Number two, we literally sit and think about shit, and then we make it happen, and we bring people in with us, and we fight for these intangible ideas.
And we have fun.
And we have a lot of fun, and we get to go on planes, and we get to go on places you didn't even know existed in order to do it, and we'll pay for that shit. And then, like, you turn around, and then you see it outside, and you can say, hey, y'all, I made that. I made that. Do you know, like, the look of awe when I see in, like, friends, family, even like this woman on the treadmill one day, I was at the gym, and this was a long time ago. I was living in California. I want to say it was H&R Block. And I saw an H&R Block spot that I did, and I was like, oh my God, I made that. This woman literally got all, that is so amazing. I've always wondered how that is done. And then she wanted to know everything about what I did. That's magic. Like, how dare we complain about that? How dare we complain about that?
I agree.
I'm
Everybody
like,
hear that?
shit.
How dare you complain?
Now, like, unless you working for an asshole, that's different. But
okay.
Like, how dare we, like, look at this and just be like, oh my God, woe is me. Woe is who?
Woe is who?
All
right, so here's one I need you to dig deep on, because this is for you. Representation matters.
To a certain point.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. I think...
These are your words.
I know.
These aren't my
and
words.
I own them all.
Okay, good.
If going back in time, I would have put representation matters to a point. And a reason why I say that is I think a lot of people use the term representation matters as we just need to have that person in the room. It's just great to have that person in the space. They look at it through the lens of, like, the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing to do. And I'm like, representation is nothing without collaboration. It's kind of like that old saying, like, I think diversity is like being invited to the party and inclusion is being asked to dance or something like that, some thing that somebody made up. And I hope you aren't offended. I did not mean to say it like that. Anyway.
No, I agree with you. I've always said
it's
that's the
like,
problem.
It's
Diversity,
like a great,
diversity is irrelevant.
It's just a weird quote in a way to me. But, like,
no, but diversity is irrelevant because it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything, like, unless you're thinking about that.
And equity. Like,
exactly.
Who gives a shit?
But I think that people take the term representation and it means, like, oh,
show up.
Just show up. And
Right.
It's like, no, that's not it. But at the end of the day, your workforce should look like the people you are talking to, period. And that's not, that goes beyond, like, even visual, designations of who we are, whether it's like race, ethnicity, age, gender. That goes into states of mind. One of the worst things, I think, and we're starting to see a difference in my opinion now, where I'm like, we're still incredibly exclusionary when it comes to class. Think about it. Like, is there a true class divide in your organization? Probably. There are certain people who would have no idea what you're talking about just because they've just never been exposed just to certain things in culture. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to know. And then say, okay, how could we tackle this? So I love the term representation matters because it does matter, but I just do not like the way that it's been co-opted for doing the bare minimum and saying, well, we got one.
Right.
You know
so
what I mean?
do you feel, so that's great. So do you feel...
Or let me add on to that. We got one, or, well, we were able to cast this person and that's enough. Yes, that can absolutely happen. But who do you have like that in your organization?
Right. That's always the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel that you're an icon? You personally,
No.
like that I'm looking up, I'm some young black kid who thinks that this might not be the industry for them. And I look at Shannon and say, oh my God. Like
that is something
I
I'm
can be Shannon.
very uncomfortable with. And some of our mutual friends, talk to me a lot. Like, you need to own it, and you need to do this. And you know how they say never meet your idols? I don't want to be that person. I'm not as accessible as I used to be, and it's generally because I have email paralysis. It is a word that I made up, or message paralysis. And I'm like, too many people are messaging me, my brain freezes. And so that is for anyone who has messaged me and I didn't message you back, I'm so sorry, but thank you. It's something that I take so serious, honestly, like when I'm in like a mentor position, that I'm just very careful with it. So what you see right now, this energy that's coming out of me, I do not believe I can call myself an icon. I think that is something that is bequeathed to you. But there's a level of humility that I want to keep, that I am very adamant about keeping around me. And that's just because as hard as it was for me to get here, it is very easy for me to go. And I want to stay. And I have seen quite a few people, if I'm being honest, kind of like take the success that I've had for granted, or take the success that I have and think that, okay, well, now I'm going to operate like this. And I'm like, you lost that to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got it, so I'm gonna just leave all these people over here. I cannot do that. I don't come from that type of stock. Now, I'm not carrying everybody on my back either. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't talk about for people in our industry. Like, they'll put everything on me. Like, I think it was when I became CCO, US CCO of RGA. And I remember like the byline was like, she is the first Black woman. And I'm just like, not only because it opens you up to just a lot of just horrible things that get sent to you, but you're still just trying to figure out what the hell you're doing here. And then people are like, you are an icon for all young Black kids in advertising. And I'm like, buckle up, because I'm not perfect. And so if I'm gonna be your icon, you're gonna see all of it. You're gonna see the good, the bad, all of it, because
just so you know, if I was like a young person and I'm clearly not Black,
yeah,
you'd be my.
I
would look up to you, just so you got it.
Thank you,
seriously.
Thank you so much. I still
because
it's just
I love
like
your
I just
ethos.
don't.
I love who you are.
It's just, if I'm your icon, let me be your imperfect icon. Allow me that.
All icons are imperfect.
But I think that especially in our community, we put a responsibility, and I do not subscribe to respectability politics at all, especially from a cultural standpoint. I am
could not agree more.
So not anti in a lot of ways.
Great. So now we got to put in a plug. This is really important.
Yes.
We got to put in a plug for Howard. I'm a big Howard fan.
You are.
No, you probably don't know
this. Very, very popular woman went to Howard.
This is true. This is no bullshit. I've been on the board of UNCF for 11, 12 years.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
And it is one of my biggest passions in my life.
Mm-hmm. I did not know that, David. That's amazing.
I am incredibly active. It's something that I find to be incredibly empowering for my life, for my family, whatever. And I've been to Howard, and I've been to Spelman. I've been all this, and I've spoken, and I've done. So I'm a fan.
Thank you.
And Howard is clearly just one of the great institutions.
Howard is the
greatest.
The greatest.
All right, so do you tell to the Spelman people? I don't want to get in the middle of this.
No. Spelman, we love Spelman. We love Spellhouse. We love Spelman, Morehouse, all the rest.
And Morehouse and Tuskegee and all of them.
Until we get to Hampton. And then we have stipulations with our fellow
I got it.
HU. It's kind of like Duke UNC.
HBC, HBUs. No, I got it. But just put in the plug, because I have to do it. Howard is a great place.
Howard is a wonderful place. It is not the first place for someone in this industry that you think of, but every day I am so thankful. Let me not say every day, that's so emotional. Like at every beat that I can get, I'm like, I love the fact that I went to Howard. I was taught things about living in this world that are still like matriculating to me, that the seeds were planted at Howard. Number one, the creative network of Howard is like nothing else. And so sometimes even at work, they'll be like, oh, well, Shannon knows this person. And they'll say it like, she can't know everybody. And I'm like, I went to Howard at a very seminal time, you know? And so to see Chad on the steps of fine art was not an abnormal thing. And so to message him when Black Panther came out, or not even Black Panther, this was like 42, I wanna say, came out and be like, yo, you killed it, you know? Like, I was, you know, I'm not gonna say I was there to watch you, but we were all around each other. When I think of Camila Forbes, who's running the Apollo right now, you know what I mean, a legendary stage in the world. And I remember seeing her first solo show after she graduated that she was rehearsing, I believe her senior year, you know, like to be taught by masters of fine art that are taught, that are hanging in the Met, that are hanging in the Studio Museum, that are hanging in the National Galleries at the Smithsonian. And they were my professors, you know, like 2 of my professors were a part of the Afro-Cobra movement, which is wild, you know. And it was such a time, and I'm incredibly blessed. And I don't think the Howard that I went to is necessarily the Howard of today. I think that it has evolved over time, but I was just there for homecoming. And I got emotional sitting on the steps of what is now the Chadwick Boseman School of Fine Arts. And I remember like looking out, and I was by myself, and I was like, damn, I really fucking did it. I used to sit on these steps and just had no idea. I've never had an idea what I wanted to be growing up. I had like concepts of a plan. I did not have a plan, though. But to be like, wow, I did it. The one thing that my mother told me, she was like, you want to be an artist? You can't live with me for the rest of your life. You just cannot live with me for the rest of your life. She's like, no, I did good. I got you here. You got to get out. My mom was ready to live, you know? And I did it. I absolutely did it. And so like.
And you did it well.
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so. Like, but the plug that I will give is something that everybody at Howard knows, and that's HU, you know. Because you know, like, nothing like a Howard girl.
I can see.
Ask Kamala.
So I got one last question. Mm-hmm. Could be the most important. 10-minute mile. How you doing?
I'm like, well, according to my attorney, no, because my lawsuit with that is getting handled right now. I am trying to get back. I am at like 17. I'm trying to get back. Having a trimalia fractured kind of fucked me up a bit. That is a clean ankle break for anyone wondering. But I'm trying to get there. Maybe put some goals in front of me. You know,
right,
Javier's got some good goals for me to like run and get to that point.
You'll let us know when you get there?
I will let you know. I just started like, I got cleared for a few other things from my ortho. Okay, like I said, 17, that is nothing to blink at. There's plenty of people who ran a marathon running a 17-minute mile, but I'm trying to get back to 10.
All right. Well,
next time.
You're going to get there. You're going to get there because you're going to get every place you want to get. You've gotten every place you want to get. You're going to go even higher and bigger.
I don't even know if that's true.
Oh, it's totally true.
I don't even know if that's true.
Totally
every day
true.
I wake up and I'm like, do I still want to do this?
Doesn't
do I want to be a teacher?
I didn't say, I said whatever you want to do.
And that's what I mean. I still don't know.
You're going to do whatever. I don't either, and I'm way older than you, so there you go.
But you've done a lot.
So, Shannon, I got to tell you, first of all, I love you. I love talking to you. You're amazing.
I love you,
so we
too.
have a custom. We have a custom on Creativity on the Other Side.
I even wore my special gold tooth.
Everybody, I can see. Everybody who comes on ends up being an FOD, a friend of David. And most of the people who come on.
A FOD?
Friend of David.
Okay.
Friend of mine. Now, most of the people who come on, I don't know. Like, I meet them for the first time. Javier's one of my just dear friends. Like, I just meet people because we talk and I do my research. And when people come in, I feel like I know you forever and I just have to ask you questions and get through it. So, as part of that, you get a creativity from the other side.
Oh, that's fly. And it's like
New
a
York
takeoff of
Festival's
CBGBs.
Advertising
I love
Award.
it. I was just talking about CBGBs the other
Creativity on the Other
day.
Side with FOD, friend of David. So this is the special collector's item because we have them without the FOD, but only certain people
people get the FOD.
So you get the FOD, friend of David, and you blessed me, honestly. So I hope you, and you can see the beautiful,
this is cute,
the CBGB design, which you correctly and beautifully identified. Not everybody gets
legendary.
That has to do with
Old New York.
Has to do with my age in Old New York, and the guys who designed it.
CBGB's
The guys who designed it
too.
designed it for me. So that's That's really
Oh, wait. The guys who designed.
the shirt.
Oh, but
No,
the original.
Not the original, no. I didn't
I
know
was about
them.
to be like, yo, your network is
I didn't know
crazy.
them. Although I will tell you that when I did start in the industry, we would work till like midnight, 1 o'clock, and then we'd
go down?
to CBGB's, and then we'd come back at 6 o'clock in the morning. So don't even ask.
No,
Don't even ask.
I
don't know how I did that. how
I
lived that
literally
way, but I
told
did.
one of my creatives about like, yeah, and it's like back in the day, I would go to like Max Fish. And I'm realizing, I'm like, no one here knows what I'm talking about, except for that one person on the call who was like, yes, Max Fish forever. And I'm
there you
like,
go.
best dive bar.
So here we are.
Here we are.
David Sable, thanking you for listening. So happy to introduce you to Shannon Washington, the
Who's
Chief
happy
Creative
here?
Officer of Gotham. Keep your eyes on Gotham. Keep your eyes on her. Both are going places. And stay tuned. New York festivals, we're going to have an incredible year, so get your work ready.
Submit
Be
your
ready.
work.
It's
I
going
wanna
to be
judge
incredible. Yeah,
I want to debate it.
she's going to judge
wanna go
and
up
debate.
for it.
This is who you're up against.
I do have work in the show.
This is who you're up against, not even just to look at, to judge. And thank you.
Thank you. Bye.